लॉकडाउन होने जा रहा है.
National emergency.
You must stay at home.
Over the past year, we've undoubtedly gone through some of the most distressing and the most terrible experiences a human can ever go through. We've been confined to the borders of our boundaries, and yet we've been forced to try and carve out new experiences and explore new avenues of interest within the limited resources that we have. And one of those things for me has been video games. I still remember the unusually cold day in Doha, Qatar, where me and my family used to live. It was a special day. I had just gotten my brand new PlayStation 1. And I'm sure that you've also owned some gaming device or the other when you were little. In fact, even to this day, when I hang out with my friends, there's a dedicated 20-minute section where we discuss on how we used to rent out internet cafes and how we played until our parents finally said, "Buddy, enough is enough." But then as life happened and we slowly fell into societal pressure, we started to cut out these hobbies one by one by the time we reached 10th or 12th grade. And then we went to university, and then we were expected to get a great job and settling, whatever that means. Solra?
கேம் வரியாடா?
என்ன game? Candy Crush?
அடச்சி CS:GO ஷூட்டிங் கேம்டா, சேர்ந்து டீம் ஆடலாம்.
And over the past year, I've not only gotten the chance to reconnect with one of my childhood passions, which happened to be video games, but now I also carry some insights through this re-established relationship that I want to share with you all. So, without further ado, let's go. Now, I don't know your involvement in video games, so I'm going to give you a little bit of context. Most of the popular games today are multiplayer games, which means that you're paired with random people across the world who happen to be your teammates. And you play against a team of individuals who you also don't know. So it's this virtual world that you're transported to, where you're left to play with your skills and nothing else, no unfair advantages. You're there for a bigger cause, and no individual is bigger than the other. And even if one of your teammates messes up, it directly affects your team. There's aspects of teamwork, coordination, correlation, communication that you sort of have to balance in that 45 minutes of a game. Now, it's amazing how synonymous to life the components of a game is. And maybe that's why they say life is a game and we're all just players. Just like these games, for the most part of our lives, we're put in groups that we unfortunately or fortunately don't have the option of choosing. But what we do have control over is what we do with the ones we have. Wherein, just like these games, you try and develop a mutually beneficial relationship. You work together and back each other to the best of your abilities. You work together for a bigger cause that is not bigger than a single individual. And at the end of the day, you value the people and retain the people who are willing to go another round with you, whom you can later have the privilege of calling your friend. Tons of psychologists have written books about this, but my most favorite one is The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Mercury. Now, the premise of the book is based on the mentality that if you want something bad enough, if you really want something, then you can consciously will it to happen by showing a positive mindset. Now, I wanted to test this hypothesis out, and games was the only tangible thing that I could see immediate results from. So whenever I engaged with an opponent in the game, instead of having this victim negative mentality of A, am I good enough? B, do I have the relevant skill? C, do I have good aim? Or just stuff like that. I just approached the moment with a positive mindset saying, man, I'm gonna fuck this guy up. It's either him or me, winner takes all, no question of skill, nothing. And that quite helped me a lot, to be honest with you. Now, you lose some and you win some, and that's something that you can't control. But moving away from the moment, knowing that you approached it with a positive and the right intent, can really be fulfilling. And trust me, competitive video games serve as a fantastic avenue of exploration to develop your skill of intent and extrapolate it sort of to your life. Now, if there's one thing that I could take away from this whole experience of reconnecting with gaming, it would be this: the people. At a time where all social interactions and opportunities and meeting new people is sort of discarded and is out the window now, at a time where we're all supposed to move away from each other, that thought can be quite disturbing, especially for someone who enjoys people and their company. And it turns out, once you get into gaming, your friend knows someone who can play, who knows someone who can play, who knows someone who can play, who knows someone who can play. And this has all sort of built up and sort of formed like a chain reaction where one guy brought in 4 other people, and now I have an avalanche of people that I can call my friends that I haven't even met yet. I now have access to a bodybuilder who gives me information on getting bigger. As you can clearly see, I really require it. I'm now friends with a 20-year-old who daily inspires me by his humility and how he stays grounded despite being one of the best gaming talents in the state. I now have a couple of friends from Coimbatore who I can talk a variety of topics, from something as slight as art to something as intense as cryptocurrencies. I'm now friends with a professional streamer from Singapore who has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to computer hardware. I now have access to people from the States for an endless supply of Hershey chocolates. And most of all, I now have an enhanced relationship with the people and the friends that I already had. And as a byproduct, when we were all supposed to be tied to the chains of our own compounds, supposedly moving away from people, we found a way to get closer than we were ever before. And that's why no matter what, this virus will never win. Because it can bruise humanity, but never defeat it. It can grow and multiply into different forms, but so will humanity's kindness. It can disrupt us mentally and physically, but we will bounce right back up, holding each other's backs. And so I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the call my friend made that reconnected my relationship with video games. I'm thankful for what the game has taught me and the joy that it has given us during these times. I'm thankful for the people I've met through the game who've shared moments of joy and happiness over the past year. I'm thankful to professional streamers and players all around the world for putting out content that I can watch and learn from. And I'm thankful to game developers, designers, and marketers for their creation that has given us a few hours of joy amid an otherwise dark time.